Yeah, just in anticipation of what you'll ask, now that I've seen the film, that seems to be a typical beginning to Mondays. Yeah, I'm disappointed we lost. We went to win the game. We didn't play cleanly enough at critical spaces on the field to come away with the win. Punt return absolutely hurt us, and a few critical penalties besides turnovers. So I'm responsible for preparing the team to be able to handle regardless of environment. And meaningful games are right where we are, with 4 more to come. And so powerful learnings from this one in terms of clean play, precise execution, critical moments. And again, 3 to 5 plays will determine outcome probably for the next 4 games, just as it's been so far. And yeah, I look forward to coaching our team.
Didn't ask you about it on Saturday, but what was your read after going back and looking at the film of the punt return and some of the issues there?
5 players at the point of attack we all missed. So I was concerned after Utah State. Our coverage was poor. Utah State chose to hold us up. And there were times where the punt returner was catching the ball and the next closest player we had was 15 yards away. We worked hard on coverage and changed some personnel. Gosh, when you freeze it after he catches it and say that's going to go the whole way, it looked like it might go for 2. So disappointed that we didn't make the play. Encouraged by the coverage part. Work to do on the finish part.
We talked a little bit about it on Saturday too, about how, the run game was affected obviously by being down pieces in terms of Nakari and Javen and all that. How did you think the offense was affected as a whole in terms of missing Luke through about the majority of that game?
Well, there's a giant hole to fill if you look just at Luke's production every single game since we've started. So the production is one component, chemistry with Devin another component, leadership another component. None of that means it's insurmountable. Was really encouraged by Ryan Davis, really encouraged by Michael Buckley, Eli Sanders, Soljay. But what I think we all saw clearly is without all the pieces, it seemed to shift more and more toward Devin, not only in throwing, but running. And that wasn't necessarily by design, but you could just see Devin feeling that he had to do more and more and more, and wanted to do more and more. Played really well. Tried to help our team as best he could. But the dynamic, the plan, the variety, and the number of pieces to touch the ball was clearly different. And we were developing and changing midstream once Luke went down. And I think that was pretty evident.
And Coach, do you have an update on Luke Wysong?
I don't. And probably won't all the way until we play. And that could be for a lot of our guys. But yeah, no word yet.
Yeah, and then I just want to check with Nakari, Javen, and Medford as well.
Same.
Okay.
We're hopeful. That's the best way to put it.
And then just looking at Wyoming, obviously it looked like Caden there got some more snaps at quarterback. What are you seeing out of their offense, and what are you expecting?
Gosh, the league is just full of parity. I turn on the film each week, and we all look about the same. Just battling and scrapping, and the games are close, and I don't think you're ever quite sure who's going to win. There's about 8 teams that are in a similar situation. Wyoming has played a lot of close games, and yeah, they're tough, and the schemes are good, and they've just been a play or 2 short to this point, but they look about like everyone else in the league, battling to try to find ways to win down the stretch.
In the context of penalties, you've talked a little bit about how important it is for players to just kind of stay in their role and just focus on their assignment. And if you try to do anything more, it's not going to go well, likely. In terms of the offense on Saturday, in terms of things that you just kind of touched on, did you feel that some players were kind of trying to press a little bit more than usual to make up for things?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think there were a few, and I won't ever make excuses, and don't take these as excuses, right? The environment when you play on the road, down the stretch, trying to win a conference championship, get to postseason, transform a program, that context and what we're asking is more, not less. And the environment was a great environment. Subtle things, but consistent things in terms of pre-snap, either procedures or mostly procedures on the offensive side. Again, we had 10 penalties, 9 of which were offensively, and another was kicking a field goal. And so I think the players want to win, and I think they're anxious, and I think they're aggressive. and I promote that. And so we just have to continue to do better in the critical moments. Some of that has been overshadowed by scoring 50 points 3 weeks in a row. When 50 doesn't happen, those miscues tend to be and seem more impactful, which is, I think, what I'm feeling and probably we're all feeling.
Did you feel that Devin ran too much on Saturday, or is it because you guys have talked about the importance of not running them too much because you need to preserve them.
Game by game, that game with how it was going, who we had, what options for ball carriers, etc. About right. Is there risk every time he runs it? Yeah. Do we convert some of the fourth downs without him? Probably not. So, yeah, the more options we have, the less he probably has to run it. The fewer options we have, probably the more he has to run it, which we already know can impact a lot.
So obviously only giving up 17 points. I mean, you guys are how close do you think you are just playing a complete game? You know what I'm saying? Are you feeling positive on that end a little bit?
I feel positive every week, and I think we can win every week. Our team does as well. And the points, sometimes even how many we score doesn't reflect our true how we're playing, and same thing defensively. So the defense gave up 10. None in the second half, which is hard to do, and gave us a great chance all the way through, which is I'm encouraged by. I think our team continues to improve. I'm not sure any of us in here, myself included, would have then said, okay, what's the score on last Saturday's game? I bet none of us would have been accurate with that. So we adjust, we adapt, we make the corrections with whom we have, the next opponent, and go forward. And that's what we'll do.
Coach, you said in the presser you were very impressed with the defense. The defense really stepped up last game. I mean, the positive of the game was the defense. Obviously, the loss of the hurts. What do you expect the biggest thing for the Wyoming Cowboys when they come in? Because they've won one game. They've beaten, I think, Air Force only. They're really hungry for a win. What do you expect mostly out of them? Typical Wyoming Cowboy, physical game, slowed down, and they've got a big running back.
Yeah, I think it's easy to look at the wins or the record. If you look at the game versus Utah State and look at our game versus Utah State, it came down to the very last series for both. So Wyoming's played a lot of games really tough, really close. And the difference between 1 win, 3 wins, 5 wins that I've seen in this league, man, those margins are really thin. So expect another good football team. And based on the common opponent we both just played, probably comes to the end.
Just how big is it having back-to-back games at home? I know it's, you hit the bye week sometimes. It's good. Is it good to have back-to-back week at home and just like really focus on you guys? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's great to be home. And we'll continue to develop the program in a manner and play in a manner and connect with our community in a manner where it truly is a home field advantage. And I know our players would like that, and we'll continue to work toward that. Looking forward to being at home twice this month. And again, at the end of the season with meaningful games, to have half at home, yeah, that's going to help.
In terms of the defensive improvement you guys have talked about on kind of a week-to-week basis and all that, when I talked to Noah last week, he said one of the keys there was just better communication overall in the secondary too. In terms of just that, being more consistent too, I mean, how have you seen that help the secondary overall?
I think the biggest thing from, if you go back to early season, the number of not just big plays but giant plays. It just seemed like you never knew when they were going to hit or where they're going to come from. And that could have been in the run game and support as well. If you trace that back for probably the last 4 weeks-ish, that number just seems to go down. The consistency seems to go up. Attempts downfield are defended better. Tackling, leverage on the ball is better. So it's been steady, methodical, sequential, and a daily grind to improve, and that's what's happening. And I'm glad that the kids finally see, the defensive players see some results from that. And now after helping our team beat Utah State with a few critical plays and then there's some momentum being generated, which is hard-earned. And it's been long, slow, tough, but gratifying.
Coach, we'll get a chance to talk to Devin about this, but I'm just curious from your thoughts. Obviously, he looked very physically. He looked very visibly disappointed at points in that game. Just talk about his reaction and just where his mentality is at right now.
Yeah, he's determined to help our team. And how can you not try as hard as he tries, commit as much as he has, invest as much as he has, and not be disappointed? I mean, how could that be an expectation? Same for a coach. We went there to win the game, tried as hard as we could to win the game. He was leading our team the best he could, laying it all out there, and it didn't go our way. And yeah, how could he not be upset by that? And he'll battle back. He's resilient. He's confident. He's an amazing football player and a great young man, and he'll respond really well.
You talked about the long, slow, tough, development of the defense and all that throughout the season as well, too. I mean, there had been improvement, but it was never kind of a given that there would be a performance sort of like this kind of popping up at this point in the season. Have you ever seen a defense kind of take that step to where they do have that kind of deal?
Yeah, multiple times I've seen it. And listen, I'm certain the process works. What I don't ever know is the time frame. And what is critical is the kids on our team are willing to just keep working and just keep working and just keep working. And that's what they're doing. And that always ends well. What I can't say and what they don't know is when. But 3 out of the last 4 is something that it's not random and it's not accidental. They've earned 3 of the last 4. They know how to do it. They know what it feels like. They're gaining momentum even though they had a tough setback. And I think they're looking forward to the finish. And I think they're hopeful.
What was the message to the team this morning?
Same as I just shared with you right there. If you just go back and capture that last sentence or 2, that would be it.
And then the pitch that was called back for the as an illegal forward pass. I mean, have you, how much have you looked at that more, and have you talked to anybody in the league about that? And what's that look like?
The video probably can't be replayed anymore. Like, it will short circuit. I've seen it as many times from as many angles. I've seen it from my head, laying on my back, looking sideways, with a laser, with my ruler. I mean, you can't. And I didn't think it was forward. But I don't make that decision.